gonna be into some Red Bull because I'm coffeeed out. So this will be my morning beverage. Hope everybody's had a good start to their day this morning. I got my sticker mule shirt on. Still need to order myself a channel shirt from my buddy Wayne. Good morning, Daz. How are you doing? Figure a morning stream would be good, being I always do, a 9 p.m. live here and a 2 a.m. live across the pond. Good morning, Matthew. Long time no see. I'm good. Got a lot of stuff to get done in limited hours to do it. I had to get my meatballs made up and pre-cook them. Then I had to do my sausage and pre-cook that. Then get all that in my crock pot because I told my daughter I'd make her spaghetti dinner for tonight. Well, I know that. Good morning, Alan. Good afternoon. Well, I'm probably, even though I work nights during the week, I'm going to try to do a couple morning lives a week, plus my nighttime ones on the weekends. Because I know it's hard, for, a lot of people to come in. Like I said, I know that a lot of people are sleeping across the pond on my night stream, so I figure I'll do a couple morning ones. Because I ain't gonna start at like 4 a.m., but well, no sticking of the fingers up the nose, Matthew. I don't think that would be an appropriate thing first thing in the morning for us. Bear, get over here. Get up here. Bear, get up here. Come on. Get up here. We're gonna pull this hair right out of your head. You heard, Mister? No, I don't want nails going up your nose either, Matthew. It is too early for all of that. Now, this is my favorite Red Bull. Let me tell you, this would be good with some latte in it. But definitely too early for that. Hi, Colin. How are you? That's right. That's right, Alan. Super strict, super strict, especially this time of morning. I am doing it. She went to put the boys in the yard. And I had her go get me some Red Bull. Yeah, he's kind of looking, since he's shaved, he looks a little scrawny. Because normally his floofy hair makes him look a lot bigger. Really, Alan. Naughty. Well, as they say, Daz, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. If you're in the Philippines, it's 8:36 p.m. Definitely gonna have to get out and do at least a couple more fishing lives before our weather goes the other way. I thought about getting an ice shanty to go to do some ice fishing. Not my favorite thing to do, but I would, just for the simple fact I haven't done a live doing it. But I haven't found an ice shanty that I like and doesn't cost out the rear end to get. Hey, we can all be clever at sometimes, Daz. Three cats in heat. Need to start getting them fixed one by one. Because, it can't be like one and then the other and then the other. Yeah, okay, Des. Hi, Emily. How you doing? Des, I think you need some practice fishing. And you don't like what? The clever part or the ice fishing part? Barrett, you don't need to go outside with your brother. You already ran around like a wild banshee. Excuse you. Leave the key cats alone. Come here. Come in. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. You were just full of yourself this morning. Seriously. Spoiled boy. Thanks for licking my eye. It's greatly appreciated. Well, that's good news, Alan. I was happy my insurance did too, because my Jeep got wrecked. This is like months, a year ago or whatever. So then I used that money to buy my daughter a car. And then dude smashed her back window out. He ended up going to jail. Still never got paid for the back window. And then a guy come off the road and hit her freaking head on, totaling that car. And his insurance company paid out on that. And then, had to go buy another car, which she still has. Yeah, that's definitely not a good thing, Al. I mean, it's a good thing they wrote it off to pay it out, but definitely not a good thing about that being ripped apart. It's one place I definitely would not want to get hit. Because all it takes is one spark and then boom. And that definitely makes a big old mess when that happens. Well, that's good, Daz. Ours go back, well, I don't have any young kids anymore. Uh, but the kids go back, I think, the 6th. Unless they're in college, then that's already started because that starts like a week or two before this the regular school um, goes by. Yeah, I don't know why it keeps going up. But yeah, I was sitting here and then the stupid thing started beeping. Well, Alan, it's not going to be peace and quiet because Daz being Daz. Blames it on the kids when it's really him that does it. Oh, jeez, Daz. I did not need that picture first thing this morning. Not going to be traumatized for the rest of the day. Well, yeah, I imagine so, Daz. Seriously. Always, Alan. I can be just as cheeky as the next. Not on my morning streams, only allowed on the nighttime ones. And Des, in our reality, I could picture you frickin' doing that. Y'all, too. We're only missing one now. The other cheeky one. Well, probably a couple. I think you two are the worst, though. Oh, I can just imagine he is, Des. Better get rid of the banner. Hey, Steven, good morning. How are you doing? Are you going this morning or this afternoon? I got a pile right there. We know how it is. I just throw it on the floor. Then, oh, excuse me. Then I lose a sock somewhere. Yes, I know this too. Well, blame it on Bear. He runs away with the dang things. So you never know where you may or may not find one. So you're gonna go back out and do laundry twice today? Well, that stinks to their freaking little tiny one. Morning, Steven.
Good morning, Tasha.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Did you do the flea market? How did that go?
Yeah, it's slow because of Labor Day weekend, but that's what you expect. Everybody's taking their last vacation or whatever. All the kids are, back to school, so they're just doing what they can to keep the kids occupied. You know what I mean? Um,
Oh yeah.
but it was surprising me. But we did have a lot of people in the flea market. And a lot of people say that they didn't go out of town because they already had their fun. But I think what they were doing is they were trying to find stuff for them for school and stuff.
Yeah.
They thought they could find it at the flea market. Well, you probably could. Um, some people do has that stuff. But what's happening is when you don't have vendors showing up, it kills the whole flea market. And your vendors has got to be there. If they don't need to be setting up. Um, they just need to be gone. Because they don't. You're wasting the owner precious time, and that owner, he's sort of like a He down on earth kind of guy.
Might be Brittany's in town.
But
What
you
else?
know, I did all right this weekend. I mean, I made probably like $50 this weekend, which wasn't bad. I mean, I'm always above my rent all the time
Yeah.
because I'm bringing
What?
stuff all the time.
Well, that's what I don't understand. If you have to pay for your space, then why wouldn't you show up?
I mean, these vendors don't show up. I'm telling you, he's already getting on them. He's charging $10 a fee every time they don't show up. They write down the names on the pad and they keep up who's not showing up. I mean, he rides around with a golf cart all the time. The reason why he has that golf cart in case there's an emergency, you just don't never
Right.
know. The last time they went, a woman couldn't breathe. She had to call the ambulance. Just like they, all the people that used to be in the, and they never heard from. There's an older guy named Mr. B. He sells like snacks, food, drinks, and all. Of course, they got another guy that sells hot dogs and stuff like that, and he sells drinks also. But the thing is, though, an older person that's been there for a while, for like 10 years, I think, over there, he's been sick. And several people's been wondering what was going on because it ain't heard nothing. And so Bruce knows where he lives. So um, he was an older man. He's 70 something years old. He's been there a long time. Um, but his daughter and his daughter-in-law and son runs the place a little bit while he tries to recover. But he was very sick. He can't move. Well, that's because you're sick. You lay in the bed. You need to move your legs, and he's weak
Oh
in his
yeah.
legs. So um,
There. Get over here.
he'll get back into the back in the groove once he start walking, moving his legs.
Yeah.
They got what they call the healthcare workers over there right now, getting them up and everything, make sure taking his medicine and all that stuff. But he'll pull through it.
Oh,
He's a,
definitely. I mean, no, it's hard, like when you don't feel good and stuff like that, to be getting up and moving around because it takes like half your energy. But it's not good to frickin' just lay in bed and not get up because that gives you a risk of blood clots and
well,
you know.
he wasn't eating, drinking anything, so he went. Finally, they told him to go to the hospital. When he went to the hospital, that changes things. His doctor told him, says you need to listen to your son. Your son told you to go to the doctor. He said, if you're about 70 something years old. He said, he says, don't don't risk your life not going to the hospital when you're not eating and drinking. And, and it could be an infection that he had. They think he had an infection. Because sometimes um you can get that in your system and you don't know what happened. It could be a food that you ate, something that you drink, whatever. It could a lot of things. So you need to be careful, what you eat and stuff like that because it's, you know. And I finally called Bruce up today. Well, yeah, last night or yesterday. They need to check the expiration date on their food because I know he had,
There's
he had checked on us and stuff because somebody could end up getting sick and they could, because of that. So I think the daughter said that you, I think they got a guy that comes in and check all that stuff for him because, but he came on Friday and he went through a lot of stuff. They helped him out and stuff. But his son came over there to run the store on Saturday and Sunday because she works and James works too a little bit. I don't know what I think he's electrical or whatever.
mm-hmm.
but he because that's what I'm trying to get back into is electrical work because that's what my first job was, and I really enjoyed it. Um, it was tough work, but somebody's got to do it, and um, you had to fight with the plumbers every day. The electrical people have to fight with the plumbers every day because that's what you have to deal with. Oh, you know how that is in construction world. That's what you deal with, especially especially when they screw up and put it in the wrong place. The plumbers put it in the wrong place because electrical goes right where their plumbing is a lot of times, and whenever they screw up, it holds us up, holds up all the electrical. I remember that time, me and that we went in one house. The plumber was mad because they screwed up, and they had to fix it. And the inspector says, "Nah, you didn't screw up. Just do it, put it in the back." So what they did, I think they put another board there, and then they put it in the back, whatever. But finally, they got it fixed in a week. Of course, I remember now on rainy days and stuff like that, we can't do nothing um, because it's just hard to get in there. You mess up your vehicle real bad, especially. Um, but I remember I had work boots and all that stuff, and we were in a house putting the receptacles on the house, and a lot of the houses that we did that time now they're like over 500 to 600 grand now. Um, people. I mean, well, that's when I was living up in Durham. Of course, Durham bad, Durham bad. When I got out of Durham, I said, "Thank God," because I didn't want to see Durham face after I left. Um, when I went to Raleigh, because I like Raleigh better because they have more activities, more stuff to do. Um, Raleigh's just getting big. I mean, everywhere you go is getting big. I mean, talking about knocking down the old buildings and stuff like that. Well, what do you do? I mean, the building sits there. What's going to happen? The foundation could end up shift, and the building could fall. So that's why they tear them down. So you build it, and be nicer and neater. Um, and you got to take a change. Sometimes a change uplifts the town. So it's kind of like Raleigh is just Raleigh is a very unique place. A lot of history, a lot of stuff. Um, and and I know they did a lot of things where they will not want to cause no more problems as already have down there. I mean, they got a protest going on right now about um the BLM, you know, and I really love it because I kind of say it's because of what happened down in Florida. But
Yeah.
and I said I know what they're saying, but I had to put them in the words, you know, that every life matters.
Yes.
And I said I don't look at the color issue, and I know it's cruel, but not every person that they say, oh, blah blah blah. And I said, I keep listening to what they say, and I said, no, 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 no. I said that's not true. You not every um not every white person is racist.
No.
And I said, I got black friends. I said, what the, you know, And one of my said they don't get into that. That's all it is. It's a bunch of you know um, the P word. They're in the same category as the P word politics. So, you want to fight and try to get justice like that, you're never going to win. Um, you're never going to win when you protest something. You'll get what they call the point across, but you will never get the victory. And if they have somebody that is strong, now I agree. What that guy did in Florida was stupid, but he killed himself. He was chasing after women and all that kind of stuff with the gun and everything, you know, and he had hate. He had hate written on his forehead the whole time. He had a plan, so he did it. He killed himself. Well, it's good for a person to kill himself because we don't have to waste your time. We don't have to worry about you. We don't really know what really triggered his mind. And the council said it was all about hate. He hate the color of someone's skin. Um, he grew up. He probably grew up that way. Um, it goes down to your family, how you grew up. But I wasn't like that. I mean, I might, um, I had some of my family members used to say but that's just the way they were brought up, you know. Um,
Well,
and
I mean, there's so much history behind everything, and I have no problem with protesting, but when it gets past that freaking point of no return, that's when there's a big problem. And it solves nothing because they go about it the wrong way.
I
Because
think,
to me, it's the right way to do it, and then there's the wrong way, which turns into destructive. And it doesn't matter what race it is. I'm not prejudiced. If you treat me kind and respectful, then I'm going to give it back to you. But if you're going to reap what you sow, guess what? You're getting that back too. You're going to be treated accordingly. You want to be rude and nasty, then I'm going to give it right back to you. That's just the way I am.
well, yeah, one of the guys. Well, I was, you know, yeah, one of the guys. I got a letter or like a flyer, and it went across all the neighborhoods in the area, and everybody was getting them. Finally, somebody reported on the news. Then everybody was getting these letters from the KKK, and someone said that the KKK would never send you letters like that. It was a cult. They called themselves this that promotes that. Um, and there's a lot of gangs, there's a lot of cults, there's a lot of things that what they support them. Um, but that's different. If you were in that kind of environment, then they will never ever do that. They will never ever. Now you go on. They got a website. You type it up on your computer, and you know you have to be following the rules of the guidelines of them if you're going to join them. But they just don't go up to and put flyers out to recruit somebody. No, you have to want to be there. You have to want to. It's almost like the Masons. Just give you an example. If you want to be joining the Masons, go right ahead, join the Masons. But you got to be there.
Yeah.
It's like that. I mean, I know people that uh that joins the Masons. They go to church. They join the Masons. They go to church and all this stuff, and they do a lot of things. and they're very supportive people. They very are. They bend over backwards when somebody is going through rough times. When they're in their members. I mean, I have been in I went into the Masons thing and sat there a couple of times, and there was a Mexican building that they do rent it out. If you want to do an event or whatever, they got a kitchen in the back, whatever, or you can get somebody, blah blah blah, and whatever. But they do have people rent out their building, and a lot of times they do get it's like I think when I was talking to the guy for a couple of days, or one day it'd be almost like $500 or whatever. If you get some vendors and you have like a little yard sale, whatever, or show, sports car show, whatever, you'd be surprised how many people would jump on that. Um, um, but we all need. I mean, I really do believe it's just like YouTube. If I don't on YouTube, and I see drama every day. I see trolls coming in acting like, oh, but you know what? To me, I kind of laugh at some of the ones that comes in. I kind of laugh because all they do is they want attention, and so I kind of laugh. Now, if they don't cause a problem or say anything, to nobody, I kind of okay, let it ride. Um, because a lot of the times they'll come in one time and then they leave. That's it. And they say something and they leave. Some of them. But then there's some of them that are new YouTubers that like I said, there are new YouTubers that's coming in, and they're just trying to find channels to build the channel up. And just like how we got started, when in the beginning you used to, of course, you know, people can knock your channel down, but you're never gonna say this. I never gave up. I keep fighting. Um, um, and I said, look, you might knock me down on my other channel, but I'm getting back up stronger than ever before on this channel. People says, I kind of like your name or whatever. Well, now I'm going in the true crime community. Why? Because the true crime community is very serious stuff, and this talks about real true stuff that happens every single day. And you learn as you go how to do it. And I got some people that's going to join my channel later down the road, but right now their schedule has not, their schedule has to meet, you know, the time frame
Yeah,
to get. So, and I understand that everybody's got to work. I mean, and they're crime investigators, most of them, private, but they'll tell you up front, you can put like article on your thing, like you could take WLT file Fox where, and you can put it on. That's not copyright. You're just showing um the news, like showing the article what they're saying. When you're trying to copyright something, you're trying to take that image and try to copyright it and do a video, whatever. You can't do that, but you can show them the article and say, hey, this is what it says. And people likes that stuff because if you like that stuff, you can take it. But there's so much stuff out there. Um, it's just like right now in Pennsylvania, they're trying to get that Brazil guy. Um, it's a manhunt. He escaped from prison. They still ain't got him yet. He went to somebody's house, took food. He went to a pizza place, tried to steal pizza, which the guy, you know, if someone got a gun in your face, what do you do? I mean, but
yeah. I watch some of the true crime things, and some of it's just ridiculous.
yeah, and you got some where people um attacking. I know some of the YouTubers attacking some of the other true crime people, which is blah blah. That's going to happen. Um,
Welcome in, Diane and Tina. Hope you're both doing well this morning, this afternoon.
but yeah, I haven't. I haven't even. It's like I think it's.
I mean, I go all over. I mean, typically, during my weeks that I work, well, the days I work,
You you ain't work today.
no, I work Tuesday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 2:30 a.m. But thing is, a lot of times I'm up at between 4 and 6. And then I'm normally in Hogleg's live because he goes live from 5 to 8. So if I do morning stream, it's got to be, like 8:30, especially if I do like on a day that I work. But good morning, Judy May. I mean, but I'd like to try to do at least 1 or 2 morning shows a week. And would you two knock it off and squirt your water bottle? Mainly to help my watch hours because back last year, you know used to do 14 lives a week,
Yeah,
between the morning show and then the night lives. So I mean, it knocks your watch hours down a lot. And
yeah,
then, like, sometimes I'm not sure like what content to put up. I haven't done much art because I just haven't had time to do so. But everybody knows me by that because I thought about dropping that off, but then my channel t-shirts have it on there, so I decided to just leave it alone. But I mean, art comes in all different forms. I mean, it could be pictures, like nature. To me, that's still considered art because you're never going to capture the same image twice,
yeah.
depending on what it is.
Yeah, it was. I came in a little bit last night, and then I was watching the race. I mean, I had to watch my race. Um, I forgot who won, but um, I kind of watched the 25 laps of it, and then I turned around and watched the end of the 25 laps just to see who wins. But I wasn't. I wasn't. I'm not a. I was a NASCAR fan, but I still like my dirt racing. I said, forget it. I am not watching another race. Um, but of course, last week, uh, oh, my man won last night. Carl Larson won last night. Tennessee boy. Um, but uh, but yeah, a lot of them drivers in NASCAR, a lot of them grew up in dirt track racing. That's where they started out. But, but I love racing. It's tough out there though.
I mean, I like the dirt tracks because it makes it, I don't know,
You
more
see a lot.
interesting.
You see a lot more action.
Well, they're like our dirt track at Fonda. they'll go out and water the track down to try to keep the dust down. Now, I used to like go and watching the races, but my allergy to dust is so bad. Good morning, Kevin. How you doing? But I end up with a sinus infection, and it doesn't matter if I sit where the building's covered or if I go down the bleachers further where it's all open, which that part is on the corner where the covered building is on a straightaway. Well, you still end up freaking covered in dirt and dust. And the only time I really ever watch NASCAR is if I was at somebody's house and that's what they were watching. You know, I get bored after like the 100th lap. So I haven't watched NASCAR in forever.
Trying to
I'd
find out.
much rather watch like sprint cars or the trucks racing, even motorcycles. Thank you, Kevin. That's the one app I haven't downloaded yet is Reddit. I'm still trying to figure out Rumble and frickin' Twitch. But yeah. I mean myself, I do like going out and going like fishing and doing the live. I don't care if I catch any fish. Granted, yeah, it's nice to catch fish. Hey guys, yes, I know it's afternoon for you, but it's still morning for me. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
They the guy that at the flea market, his son lives in New York and he races in Albany, Saratoga. That's where he races at all the time. This guy, he was leading the race the whole time. You know, like this, and a guy pulls out of the pit and rams his car right up in the wall.
See, now if you're going to come up here and go to a race, you need to go to Lebanon Valley Motor Speedway.
He
Lebanon
races.
Valley is like one of the best ones to go to.
He went to Saratoga, and then he goes to another track. I don't know what the other track is, but he races two tracks in New York. He don't go now. He is coming up to Charlotte, North Carolina. They got a big dirt track racing in November or October, one or two, but it's going to be big. They say it's going to be big. I figure it's going to be. I mean, you got 1,142 cars going to be there. That's a lot of cars.
Hey, Chris and Tiffany, how you guys doing?
But they're all different series. You got the late models, the sport models, you got all that stuff.
Well, Honda does the same thing. I mean, they do sprint cars. They do, you know, like the regular race cars, I call them. But then you got Watkins Glen, which is a huge freaking track. That's like one of, we'll say, like the most famous ones in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Shut the hell up. Excuse you. But the one place I'd really like to go and do a live is Royal Mountain because that's dirt bike racing. Um, Now they used to have 4-wheeler too, but I don't know if they do all that stuff or it's just strictly dirt bikes. But now in the wintertime, they open that up for skiing because they do have the lifts to take you up this monster freaking hill. So you can go there skiing, tubing, whatever. But I haven't checked their schedule lately. So I mean that would also be a cool live. Um, I'd like to go down to the river where Jamie and I go fishing and get some good train footage because there's all kinds of container trains, Amtraks that go through there. And it just like some of our container ones, they have anywhere from 2 to 4 engines on them. Sometimes there's 2 in the front and 2 in the back. That's how big these trains are. But I've been checking them out. Not saying I'm going to get millions of views, but granted, it would be freaking awesome to. But train videos with the graffiti and stuff like that, some of that stuff is awesome. That's on these container trailers that go to the rail yards. Good morning, Elliot. So, I mean, I got like areas I can like go to. I just haven't like taken the time to go and do it. Because, I just trying to think of different content to do so it's not like all the same. Granted, yeah, art and adventure. Well, adventure can be anything. Like I said, art can be anything. It can be a matter of going and, taking like certain photos of like different things from like, like the same place. Like I did one, with different mushrooms growing on the trees, these weird ferns I've never seen before. But my favorite place that I go to, there's no signal there. So I can't really do a live, but I can definitely do videos and stuff like that. But I've noticed like sometimes my shorts get way more views than like if I put up a video. There's been a couple lives that I've had to keep private because of certain information that was said in said lives. So then you're losing the revenue for that.
Yeah.
Especially when you have like 100 and some views and, like 10, 12, 15 people in chat. So I always like check out different things, and then of course, it tells you when most of your viewers are online. Okay, so I've played it out. Like I've uploaded morning, I've uploaded afternoon, but sometimes like the most people are on from like say 8 to 10, but the views really aren't that much different than if I uploaded one at 4 a.m. That's the crazy part when you go back and through and look at analytics and stuff like that. Because I could upload one at 4 a.m. and get like 200 and some views or whatever, and then load a short during the peak times, and I might get 17, 20, 40. Now, if I do a rant at night over whatever, then that's a whole nother ball game because people like the drama of it. They want to come in to see, okay, what does she got to say? Is it going to be about a certain person? Is it going to just be like a general rant? Because I've learned that if I title it with frickin' rant or, even let's bring the drama, even though, my channel is drama free, but sometimes those are the best titles to use because people are just curious about, what the hell is she going to talk about?
Yeah, that's what one of the guys said. One of the true crime people says, "Oh, we get drama every day. Very exciting." And some of them are has sick in the minds, and that guy, he tells it just like it is. When you're a YouTuber, you got to face the drama.
Well, yeah, because if you think about it, a lot of people are drawn to that because it's it can be random or you know it could be specific or like me, I'm always back and forth between this and that, and okay, I might say, this is getting so ridiculous and whatnot. Well, that's what's crazy, Judy May. Like sometimes I'll get like, 5 trolls on the channel. Now, if they're keeping it kosher, that's fine. But when they start attacking me, that's a completely different story. Because then I'll go off.
Yeah,
And then boom, they're back in with another channel name. They try coming up, you know, you click authenticate or whatever, and they most of the time they don't come and chat. They just slam your basement, and it makes it hard when you try to you're trying to bring people up, and it's like boom, 10 people are down there, and half the time they're playing like derogatory stuff. Yeah, it just depends what it is, Judy May, because we all have our
yeah.
own.
I mean, there's channels that I've been under. They talk politics all the time, and it all depends how you present yourself in the broadcast. If you're talking about politics, it's okay. But if you're doing things like showing stuff and everything, you have to really kind of like have permission and stuff to do that because um you know they could they could just take your um video down or tell you to delete it or whatever. Um, but most of the time, I see people talk about it, but they don't really talk about it much. But I've seen other people where I just don't get into it because I'm not a real true on that. I just like I just like true crime, deal with other things, and something on a positive note. Um, um, something interesting. And, it's kind of interesting because you know it's kind of interesting when people escape from prison and they trying to hunt this person and and it's kind of like, oh, they go play the game, so it's kind of like interesting when he's going to give up, and it's just like the last time someone escaped the prison from Pennsylvania, it took 20 20 months before this person to get caught, and see, and you have to think about how the role game, they're minding the role game, and they don't want to go in and and especially when someone escapes prison, like where they're at in a neighborhood, it's hard for the officer to do anything because it's in a neighborhood. Because you got kids that's in the house, you got fences around. Oh, it's just too much. And but you know they have went to houses where the guys been in, broken into. They looked all around. What they're doing is doing their job and protect us and make sure they're all right. Because you want to make sure everybody's all right and when somebody's like that on the trail, on escape man, inmate. But he's just got um, who knows? I don't even know if they because last time I know I saw the guy that was doing it, and I just hope they catch him today. Who knows? They might not even catch him.
Well, yeah, I mean, it all depends to me, like on how it's presented. But the reason why two topics are controversial and can cause big arguments, politics being one of them and religion being the other. That's why typically I don't get too involved in either one because we all have our own beliefs
Yeah.
when it comes to both ends of the spectrum. So I try not to talk too much about it for that reason. Um, because somebody might get butthurt because you said this and that, blah blah blah. But it's like anything. And the way I look at it, if somebody comes in and wants to troll the channel, like I said, if they're not causing problems, then that's one thing. But when you start causing issues, then you're gone. But you also got to look at it if they're just in there chatting nonchalantly or whatever, and everything's fine. I don't have a problem with it. One, if they're there, obviously they want to be there. Sometimes for bad reasons, sometimes for good reasons. So either way, they give you watch hours, especially if they stay in the whole time. But when they start being derogatory and start either attacking me, which typically that's who they attack, and a lot of times it comes from people getting butthurt because of who you support. Well, last time I checked, a host can support, or a channel can support whoever the heck they want to. I may not like a channel that somebody supports, but if am I going to degrade, my subscriber because they support this other channel? No. And just like when I go into channels, there may be a couple people in there that I really don't care for. If they say hi to me, I'm going to say hi back for the simple reason I'm there for the host, and I'm not going to be rude. So that's just me. I'm there for whoever's channel it is, whoever's live, and stuff like that. When I'm here, for everybody. Panel, whoever may be in my chat, and it doesn't matter where I go. I'm not gonna be spiteful and ruin somebody's life just because I may not like somebody that pops in the chat. I'm not there for them. And a lot of people kind of lose sight of that. Now, if it's uh, certain things, yes, I will allow it to a certain extent. If it's like a personal issue that has turned into a super bad experience and circumstance for that channel who I happen to be close to, then yeah, I'll allow it. But even, I support who I support. And if people don't like it, I don't know what to tell you. Unsubscribe from my channel. Block me. Hide me. Whatever you want to do. But don't, if I have like a bunch of people on my panel or whatever, don't come in here and attack the person. Well, that's what I'm saying. If I'm in a channel and I'm a moderator, and if the host asks me to do a specific thing, even though I'm friends with that person and have a relationship with that person, people can't take it personally. Because when you're a moderator, it doesn't matter if you're managing moderator, standard moderator, whatever. There's still like a job requirement. But if people just come in my channel and timing out people just because they don't like them, then guess what? You're losing your rent because I'm not going to tolerate it. That's the way I've had my channel. 99% of the people know how I am when it comes to certain things. If I have a personal issue with somebody, then I'm going to take it to that specific person. I'm not going to ruin somebody's life because I have a personal issue with somebody that's there. Now, I can't control what the other person may do, but I'm not going to bring it there. And it would have to be something super, super bad and nasty for me to even do that to somebody. Good morning, down east. How you doing? But I just prefer to keep my personal stuff to my own personal self. Now, I mean, if people want to rant about this person and that person, especially when it has gotten bad towards the other person, but I don't know. To me, some stuff is serious to where people take it that far. Sometimes it's just petty bullshit, whatever else. You're vibrating. I'm on my second Red Bull. I'm not vibrating yet. I still gotta get my sauce going. So we'll probably do an hour and a half.
I'll probably step down because I got some other channels I got to go to. I just want to come up and chit chat with you. I didn't go there last night because I was beat yesterday. When you come home from the flea market, you're beat. I mean,
Well, especially if it's hot. Or if you have a lot of customers or, the last flea market I went to was in Florida. And that was like the biggest flea market I ever went to because I've gone to ones in New Hampshire. But that one particular one in Florida, I don't remember what town it was in. All right, Diana. Um, but it's amazing, like, how much stuff is, like, actually there. When you go around and you look at the different tables people have and the different booths, um, some people are cooking, so when you're walking through there, you can smell like the barbecue or tacos if that's going on. So then it's like your tummy always starts growling when you smell. It's the same thing going to the fair.
yeah.
You
So
walk in there, all you can smell is food between pizza, funnel cakes, uh, sausage, peppers, and onions, to Philly cheesesteaks. And it's like, okay, I'm done looking at everything else. I need to go get food. And I have to say that the New York State Fair is way worse than these little town fairs. There's so much to look at the state fair. And I mean, you literally got to get there first thing in the morning. And you may be able to get through everything. But I love going to the fairs looking at the animals.
yeah,
Walking through the cow barn. They have this huge building that has like rabbits, all different kinds of chickens. Like I've seen pink chickens, purple chickens, blue chickens. It's crazy. And there'll be like the frizzles, where their hair's like all crazy, or the
yeah,
Polish chickens.
yeah.
And they always look like they had a bad hair day.
Yeah, that's what it's up here.
Yeah, the only fair I went to down there is the one in Hickory. And then my kids are little, so we took them over to the Ashboro Zoo, I think it is.
That's yeah. That's yeah.
I mean, I do miss North Carolina mainly because, yeah, where I lived, I think the coldest it got in wintertime was like 20 in the morning, but then it warms up to, 50 some degrees.
Yeah,
Like, I don't mind snow. I'd care less about snow. It's the cold that has to go with it sometimes.
yeah.
Good morning, Elliot.
Morning. How y'all doing?
I'm doing good.
I'm doing pretty good this morning. I slept late, so sorry I couldn't get in here. I was going to try to get in here when you started. How you doing,
Elliot.
Steve?
Doing good.
Steven, I'm still half asleep, so bear with me here. I wake up. Whoa.
Yeah, I've been up for hours, but I'm so used to taking a nap at 10:30 on days I work, so it's getting close to that point. But I got a bunch of stuff to get done today, so it's like yeah, I don't know if a nap's in the cards for today. It seems like Monday is like always the day that you got to rush through everything and get it done before work tomorrow. Saturday is my lazy day. I typically sleep on off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I used to hate Mondays back in the
Good
day.
day. Thanks for coming
You
up,
too.
hanging out.
Or you too. See you
Always,
later.
always a pleasure to be here with you all. I like your fishing
Well,
stuff.
I always enjoy when you come up.
Thank you. I enjoy being here. If I didn't, I wouldn't be here.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it kind of be pointless if you didn't enjoy being here to be here.
Yeah. Uh, I take my spells, where sometimes I'm don't know when you're streaming, especially when you went to work. I'd miss a lot of them, and I'd go, shoot, I missed some of it. Sometimes I don't stay on, entirely. I get busy or at night or get tied up, and I'll go in there and hang out a while. Sometimes I don't say later. I just kind of exit out and go to sleep. Sometimes I'll say good night. But I try to hang in there as long as I can.
I hear you there, Judy May. Oh, I know. That's why I said I'm going to start, trying to do at least one or two morning lives during the week, even if it's on a day I work. If I start after Hog Legs, he ends his live at 8. So I figure
Mm-hmm.
8:30 is a good spot. Go for
Mm-hmm.
hour and a half, 2 hours or whatever. Then I'll still be able to get my nap before work.
Mm-hmm. He
Because
goes on at 8.
if
He
I
goes on
want,
at 8, Tasha.
no, Hog Leg goes on at 5 and he ends at 8.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, gotcha. Mm.
So
That's
like
that's a little
I
too.
set my alarm at 7
That's a little too early. I like to
or
watch his show, but
7:30.
it's 5 o'clock's a little early for me. Boy, he's an early riser for sure.
Well, see, when
Sometimes
I
I.
knew Melissa, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Sorry.
Well, like on days like when Melissa isn't feeling good or I know that she isn't feeling good, then I'll set my alarm to be in there at the start of the show. And I don't care if I just went to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning, I'll set my alarm for 4
Mm-hmm.
or 5 or quarter to 5. And then there's other times, I'll set it for like 6:30, 7 o'clock, so I can at least be in there the last hour, hour and a half.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had a YouTube friend of mine. He sent me a text. I told him I can't remember what time, 3 or 4 o'clock yesterday. I said I may do a live. I says so. He contacted me about 8. He said, "You gonna do one?" I said, "Nah. I've been running around getting parts cleaning stuff, engine cleaning stuff, and you name it to try to do a lot of that, restoration I got to do. Believe it or not, the shop's not doing it. I didn't pay them for that. And if I paid them for that, that would be kind of expensive. You know what I mean? If they had to sit and clean, paint, they're going to paint my block, but if they had to clean the oil pan, vat it, et cetera, that's $100. Uh, so I'm trying to do some things that I want to do. Like intake manifold. It's aluminum. Well, it's set for a lot of years, and it looks pretty good, but it looks like the sheen's gone. You know what I mean? Usually those manifolds from GM is usually kind of got a shine to them. I think they got some kind of factory clear coat on them, probably, but I don't know what to do about them. I want to paint them, but I'm afraid to paint them because they say the clear coat turns yellow or flakes off with gas. So anyway.
Well, it's hard to know unless you either decide to do it or you don't decide to do it. And just like me, I'll do whatever mechanical work I can do myself, but there's certain things like I can't do myself. Like I had to change the hub bearings on my truck. So I had to
Mm-hmm.
call my brother. I'm like, look, I don't have a socket big enough,
Mm-hmm.
to break, the nut to get the hub off. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a good thing that I asked him to come up and frickin' out because I'm literally, trying to break it loose and I couldn't do it. I'm like,
Right.
look, I need your help. And he brought up this huge breaker bar, and I mean, he about had to stand on it. And
Wow.
my brother's a tall boy, and he is super strong. So I knew there's no way in heck Jamie and I were getting that off.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I had him do the passenger side, but he took that to work. But then the driver's side front one went. So I'd gone and got the parts and stuff, and I'm like, look, I can't find a socket that fits it. You know, it was either like a little bit too small or a little bit too big, and I really didn't want to strip the nut.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then you got to line it up for the pin to go through. And I'm like, rather than taking a chance of freaking stripping it or breaking something, can you come up and do it, break it loose, and then tighten it? Because I don't have a torque wrench, which he has all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. I
So
know what you mean. I know this guy here. I think it's Thursday. I called him. See, I paid him, which is okay, 2,500. Pull the motor, send it to machine shop, get it whatever redone, and bring it back, put in the bearings, paint the engine. That's included. But then when I'm talking to him, he goes, "You need to come get your parts." And I went, "What?" He says, "Yeah, I don't have a vat. Mine's don't work." And I went, "Okay." Well, I kind of got frustrated. But when I look at it, though, I'll tell you what I did. You probably may have heard me say it. I went down there. He had everything in the bins, and I paid him half the doggone fee. I got my parts, loaded them on a truck, took my motor to the machine shop. I volunteered to do that too to help him out. I told him I did. I said, I know you all got to work. You work in there, and if you're taking my motor down there, it's going to hurt you. And he should have maybe offered to, take a little off for that, because his employee had to do it. But I did it anyway because I wanted to look at my motor, the inside of it. And I come to find out my motor is like brand new inside, 14,000. Absolutely is like brand new. And the timing chain, you can barely see the little gear mark. So I'm glad of that. But anyway, I called him. I know this is crazy. I called him. I got a price from another guy. He's really a good mechanic. They run a good shop. They don't mess around. They open AM. They don't come in at 9:30 late. But he says he couldn't give me a flat rate. He says because the boats, we didn't do it. We may spend hours, trying to find out where they go. And my mechanics are going to hate it. And I said, yeah, I understand that. I grew up, I worked in a shop when I was young and as I got older too. And I did my own work, even rebuilding engines. And he says, but it's going to be $100 an hour. And I said, well, how long is that going to take? And he goes, probably a week. And I got thinking, man, if that joker charges me 40 hours, even 35, I'm going to be paying a ton load of money at $100 an hour. And he told me he would. And I says, I got to thinking about it, and I said, I can't do that. So I called Shay back, and we left on good terms. I wasn't mad at him when I took the stuff. I told my brother was going to help me. So I called him back and told him something, and I says, man, I said, I've never doubted your abilities. I said, I did get frustrated with you on my time. It was 3 months before you ever touched my motor, So I told him, I said, if you'll do it, I'll get all the parts. They're just like they were in the garage and nothing's touched. I didn't move anything out of the bins. It's the way you all packed them in baggies, all the parts some of them are labeled. And I said, your guy knows his system. You know what I mean? There is a system when you organize boats when you take them off. And he says, okay, you got a car cover? He said, I'll cover it. And he says, sounds good. And so I'm going to let him complete it, eventually take those parts down there. Now, the one thing he promised me that I could go down there and paint my chassis out there on his property, on his lot. If he says he don't want me out back, I'm going to have to pay a wrecker to pull it out front where I can get out there and prep it, with acetone and stuff and spray my chassis. I don't have much of a chassis on a sports car, but I do have some. Maybe, 4 foot, 5 foot, something like that. I can't remember now. But I want to paint it where it really looks nice because I do want to put it in the car show, in time. And I don't want it to look like crap. It sat a long time. And I was always suspicious, Tasha, was that original? Because you do get ripped off a lot of those old Corvettes. They'll put cluster gauges in there and cheat you. But my brother looked at it and he said, "My goodness, this motor's like brand new." And I said, "Yeah, I see that." And even the machinist says, "Well, you don't have a rod knocking." So even my oil pan, all it had was a little oil sludge for setting for the past 3 decades. That's all it had in the thing. But anyway, enough of that story. That's been my past few days going.
You know, some of them will come in, I mean, like super souped out. Like Novas,
Mm-hmm.
the Camaros, Chevelles, you know, I mean, like souped out. And then you'll get ones like Model Ts that come in original, and they're not stored, but they have no rust on them. The paint's faded and stuff, but there is not a speck of rust on them. So you'll have like all different, you know, levels from like, you know, the Chevy Bel Air that's original paint, original everything. You know, because you know they most of them keep them garaged.
Yeah.
Well, with our car shows, there's a rule. You can trailer them there, but they have to be driven in. So
interesting.
This one guy, you know, had a hard time getting it started. You know, the old crank one. It'd run for like, you know, a minute or two, and then the dang thing shut off. Sonny's there working on it for like a half hour and finally gets it running to where he can drive it in, because typically those ones are set in a certain section where some of them, you know, have been restored. A lot of them haven't been. Good morning, Rich.
Morning,
and
Rich.
Judy. So I mean, they're cool. I'd much rather look at the older ones, you know, that are original, whether the paint's faded or typically they'll shellac the boards, you know, on the bed of the truck. But for the most part, that's about it.
Right.
So
yeah, I'm trying to go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to let you. I don't like interrupting. Sometimes it just happens.
Well, go ahead.
I'm trying to keep mine, Tasha, to the maybe even using the original. I hate to do it because it's not a real good thing. Using the factory clamps, if possible. Keeping I don't want to paint the intake manifold because it's going to look silver painted, and if I clear coat, they say the gas will end up turning it yellow or it'll, you know, peel off. It is a little stained, but I'm going to put it on there anyway, you know, because I can't get one as nice as mine, even though it's got its problems, because it did sit a long time. So I'm going to keep it as stock as I can, to where it looks, you know, when somebody raises the hood, they'll go, wow, it looks like it was did in 1989, you know. And so I'm not doing any of that. I'm not going to polish the plenum. Matter of fact, the plenum is clear coated. You can tell it's bright, clear coated. The tubes, intake tubes are bright. They look good. Only the distributor cover, I actually put acid on it. It's made for aluminum because a guy on YouTube, I'll say it, he has a Corvette channel. He did he did his runners and all that, and he sold it. I think back when they were cheaper, like 11,000. And the thing I realized though, don't matter what acid you put on there, it's going to change that shade. So it turned it, instead of a magnesium look with a shine, it turned it kind of a gray. And now I got to go find me another one. Yeah, so I'm glad I tested it at least on the distributor cover metal housing. It's like a little shield, and didn't touch the rest of it because that guy was wrong. I mean, he totally put acid on everything, the runners, you know, plenum, everything. And
I remind you, Rich.
Mine is too sometimes.
Well,
my spelling.
When I got with my kid's father, he used to, you know, junk cars and stuff. Well, his nephew would go out to Arizona, he'd go out to California. Well, he knew that he had this antique car. Okay. The body was good, the frame was in perfect condition. And he found a guy that wanted it. Well, we had the car crushers come in. So where do you think it went? In the car crusher.
Wow.
And it was like the next day that his nephew was talking about it. And he's like, are you effing kidding me? He's like, no. He's like, it's been sitting there, you know, for like forever. And like I said, the frame was, there's like, it wasn't rusted out or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a guy in Arizona that was looking for it because he had like the motor and stuff like that, transmission, but he didn't have the chassis or the body. And I just shook my head. I said, of all the cars you had to run through that damn crusher.
Yeah. Bummer. Them things, you shouldn't do that, man. Them things, you got a good body, you need to keep it. Even if you want to resell it. Them things are valuable. Even parts on my car. I mean, we're talking like sometimes you'll see a plenum and I think plenum tubes for $29 on eBay. But then again, they can still be scarred up or dirty looking and the little rust spots on it, even though it's aluminum. Looks like rust. It may not be, but they're $179. Even if they look bad. Well, I'm not going to pay $179 for some that look like crap, you know? And you can't get nothing for an 89 anymore. You really can't. You can't even get bolts at a dealer. You can't get control arm bushings anymore. It's not available. The dealer quit, I don't know, probably the first 20 years, I think they support those vehicles. And they quit. So now it's a big aftermarket. That's a good thing. I got like Corvette Central.
Yeah. Thank you, Rich.
Davies in Florida has got a bunch of Corvette parts. I've actually bought some from them, some cooler hoses for my oil cooler. It was kind of hard to get one of them, but they had it. And I can't wait to get back together, though. I'm going to be doing
There's actually a junkyard in PA. I don't remember the name, but I always seen it when I was driving through there. And I mean, they have like so many antique cars and trucks and everything just sitting out there.
Wow.
But when my kid's father had this car, he kept it up on blocks. Mm-hmm. And would always like weed whack under it, around it. So there's like nothing, you know, taking a chance of growing underneath of it to where it's going to come up through, you know, the floor or whatever like that. So it wasn't just sitting there on the ground like the other junk cars.
Right.
And it just sad because it's like, yeah, we could have used that money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've had this car, I think maybe, I can't remember, but somewhere near 4 years. And I got under it, looked at it, did a lot of inspection. And I told my brother, I says, well, the oil pan looks new, got a sticker on it. Shocks, he said, one day he said, shocks look like they've been replaced. I said, no, they're original Bilstein, yellow. And you could tell just because they had a little dirt, you know how it gets dirt on it. And I had the stickers on and I looked on there and I said, Eddie, I said, my oil pan looks like it got the sticker on it, looks like brand new. There's no rock chips on that thing. But buddy, when I seen it pull out the other day and we got to the machine shop, the machinist looked at it and I said, it's got 14,000. Looks like the timing chain has no wear, even on the gear teeth, just barely. And he says, well, you don't have a rod, which I knew because I didn't see any material in it. And that tells me that upper cylinder knock, I think I mentioned to you, it was knocking. If I hadn't, it was a tap. I looked at John, the mechanic, and then the machinist, he didn't say nothing. But what I've looked up, it sounds, I've got underneath the car and I've listened, and it sounds like near the top end of the cylinder. what I suspect it is the one thing that warms up and knocks on that motor is the piston wrist pin.
Yep.
And then when I crank it, it'll run for 5 minutes, Tasha. It will not. It'll be quiet like a new car. But all of a sudden, it'll get worse. Now, it used to have to get up to 180 to knock. So that tells me it got worse. And I drove it. I'd get up and run up and down the street, even with it knocking occasionally, just haul it. Because I knew it wasn't a rod. And basically, all I need is new pistons, a line hone, and rings. And then, of course, they're going to put valve springs, redo the heads. I don't even need a timing chain. I don't even need my block board. So I suspect they'll just line hone it, put their new rings in, and a piston. If it's a wrist pin, just go ahead and do a whole set of pistons, and that's it. Which is going to save me money. It's going to save me a lot of money. I may only pay maybe $1,000. I think a long block is like $1,700 ordinarily. But I'm looking forward to it because I can't wait. I want to do some travel. I want to go out to Tombstone. You're up in New York, so that'd be quite a drive. But I've never been up north. I've never been to New York City. I wouldn't mind going to New York City and Central Park and seeing the Dakota where John Lennon was lived up there. I've wanted to go for years.
If you come up here, I'll definitely have to take you up to the Adirondacks because just driving up there, the Adirondacks is one of the prettiest places in New York State. Like, I mean, Lake Placid is a drive. So if we wanted to go out and check out Lake Placid, we'd have to leave early in the morning to get up there. But you got a bunch of lakes going up there. You got Indian Lake, Louis Lake, just a bunch, Tupper Lake, and you just keep going north. But I always wanted to go up there in the wintertime because
yeah, it's going. I'm looking forward to it. I'll be honest, I hadn't been behind a Corvette since I was 1970. No, 19. I don't know why I'm saying that. I must be half asleep. Last time when I got rid of mine, it was 1998, believe it or not. And I bought my original. I don't usually tell. I think I may have told the story on here, but I bought my original. I was going to get married. Well, I wasn't going to get married, but she kind of thought we were, and I was trying to let her know that we weren't. And I instead of going buying a house, I took my money down payment and went and bought a 6-year-old, 30,000 mile, almost brand new Corvette. And she kind of went crazy over that because, and I kind of understand, but she was so hard to deal with. She had bipolar, the girl I was seeing. And I just bought it, and I said, I can't marry that girl. It was getting really difficult to deal with her. And I went and bought it. Unfortunately, she was so vindictive. She come up in a bar one evening, and actually, literally, I was standing between it and her front bumper. She put the brakes on, gave it the gas, and could have killed me, seriously. And started burning her tires. Well, I moved out of the way. She cracked my left quarter panel. I mean, it literally ran the car into my friggin' car. And I kicked her front plastic grill out with my foot. Some of it, I didn't kick it out all the way. I just kicked at it. Well, my legs were bleeding where she had bumped me with the car, and all that. And so I never went around her again at that point. And it was a bad experience with that situation. So not only did my car get hurt, I like to never got rid of her. She would stalk me, actually, back then. And I was in my 40s. I bought it when I was 10 or 11 days after I turned 40 years old. That was my gift to me because I'd always dreamed, I grew up poor. I was a poor kid. My mother, I didn't have a father. My mother worked, and back then in the 70s, late 70s, you didn't make much money in those days, especially in manufacturing. And I always dreamed of having a vet, even at 14 or 15. And somehow timing got right, and I got lucky and got one. Boy, was I thrilled. I had a blast in it. I had the Bose Gold system, which is a 50 watts per channel in my first one. And man, you talking about, I know Bose is controversial. Some people like it, say it's not enough bass, but boy, on Bose Gold, that joker, I'd pull up the red lights with the top off, have that Bose Gold wide open, listen to Lunatic Fringe and, you know, Eagles and Zeppelin and you name it, even country. And people, sometimes I remember one day, an old man stopped at a red light and he looked over at me. I was on my way to work and he looks over at me and I'm 40. He looks at me and shakes his head like, oh boy, this guy's crazy. The whole, you could hear my stereo at the whole intersection just rocking out, you know. But I was always very reluctant back then in my 40s. When I was single, so I dated. A lot of the girls, I didn't even tell them I had a Corvette because I didn't really want to get out there. I wasn't one to brag about it or carry on. I didn't want them to know, you know, at least until I did it. One lady tried to get me on my second one I bought, tried to get me to go in a club. And I said, what do you do? She says, we go to Hooters and wash cars and do for charities. And I says, I can't do that. I ain't going in there just to show off my car. I can't do that. It's not me, who I am. But I had a good time. And I was like I was on cloud nine back then. I mean, you know, dreaming your whole life of a car like that and then getting it, it was a trip. I had a blast. I'd go to Lake Lanier, Stone Mountain here in Georgia, travel, Lookout Mountain, Chattanooga, Tennessee, Tybee Islands, down here in Savannah. Had a blast back in the day. I'll talk a little bit because Tasha's on mute. Apparently coffee's making me talk, so. Good to see you all in the side chat. Hope you're doing well this morning, Judy May. I think that's to be announced as Judy, CFM Queen, unless it's Rich. Who else is here? Rustic Outdoors. Good morning. Yeah, I was when I first seen that to be announced. I seen it, I think, on a stream you did. I was a little confused, like you said last night, or about it.
Yeah, and my daughter stood outside to mute because my dogs were going nuts. Good morning, Rustic. How you doing?
Okay, it says 100% Judy, then it says it's Rich. Okay. Still confused. But yeah, I can't wait. I call it my last hurrah, Tasha. Everyone. I do have to get the radio. It's not a gold. Bose Gold. It's only 20 watts per channel. And that kind of bugs me. I'd like to upgrade it and keep the stereo and all that and bag it up because that way, if I sell it, it'll keep its value. But I can have it restored. A guy in Florida, if I take the panels off and take everything out myself and ship it, he will restore it with brand new capacitors. They were known to leak back then. They were real cheap from the factory for some reason. He will restore the radio. He can't restore the cassette, he said, and my cassette's malfunctioning, but he'll restore the radio, the speakers, the new amps, everything for $650. And that way it'll be like factory original. And if I go to sell it, it'll be worth, you know, whatever I sell it for. They're going about 20, anywhere from mine with that low miles is going from $16,000 to $30,000 actually now, which is crazy. Yeah, but they are. When I first started looking for them, there was like $10,000. You know, 11. Now, no way. But
Hey, Stuart.
Definitely got to be careful with the restoration on the aluminum because once I do it, I can't go back. You know what I mean? If I mess it up, Hey, Stuart. I jump in his stream now a little bit, watch him tie the flies. I've known people to do that. That's a kind of an art form.
My grandpa used to tie his own flies when I was a kid.
Yeah, I was a big Led Zeppelin. Some of their songs. I like a lot of stuff though. Eagles, Hendrix, Conway Twitty, blues. I'm kind of, as I got in my 20s, I didn't like country. I started listening to old country, and then of course the 80s, 90s country I liked. And then now I don't listen to country. I haven't listened to the radio now. Well, I've listened to it a few times, but I don't like the new pop. I don't like the other
I
new
like
stuff.
certain ones like Jelly Roll.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this other channel I can't even think of starts with a Y. Something Wolf.
Hmm.
Adam Calhoun. He's another good one. That's new. Um, but you know what's crazy? Is I put my Pandora on my TV.
Mm-hmm.
At least once, I will hear Leonard Skinner, Simple
Mm-hmm.
Man, which was
Good.
KP's favorite song.
One of mine too. Right. I used to listen to Tasha back when I was married. We'd split sometimes, and I'd hang around some of my school friends, high school friends, after we got in our 20s. And we'd go to sometimes a little neighborhood pub or bar on Beaufort Highway, and that's what we'd listen to. Train Roll On, Simple Man, Free Bird, and
Yeah,
quite a bit of it back then. And, I used to really listen to it a lot. Then I got the 80s, I got to listening to, when I divorced, I got to listening to Hank Jr., Women I've Never Had. What else did he have? He had a bunch of them. Weatherman was blue. I love Weatherman, man. That's a good song. It says, I've seen highs, I've seen lows, I've seen sunny days. To me, that's a beautiful dang blues song, man. Weatherman. Just sounds good. And, I research rock a lot. Some of you may not know that. I watch how the records were built, or come up with, and it's amazing the stories of rock now. How I look at it and understand what some of the bad side effects of fame was. Like destroying Elvis Presley. Touring's tough, they say. And somebody was talking the other week. I was watching a thing on Elvis, and I've read everything you can imagine because I did go to Grace, and I'm a big Elvis fan too. And they said basically they just worked him to death. And that's true. I think he just literally was wore out. Plus, didn't make a lot of money on touring back then compared to this day and age. I've never did ice fishing. Never did that. Caught a few bass. Love catfishing. Catfishing my favorite. On the bottom. Now I've did both with a float and bottom. But I typically do bottom with night crawlers. And I think probably why I don't fish a lot here in Georgia. We got everything around here, guys. We got national forest not far from here, 30, 40 minutes from here. We got national forest in South Georgia here, WMAs at the national forest, Oconee here. But the problem is if you want to go camping, you got to call, contact them, reserve a campsite. Then they may not have fish, at the campsite. It may not be the best fishing spot. And it becomes such a hassle, you don't really want to go anymore.
see, I still got to get these all in my tackle box. These are actually handmade
Cool. Mm-hmm.
by Off the Hook.
Who made them?
One in a giveaway. Off the Hook Outdoors, Ted.
Okay.
He makes his own. Uh, got this color.
Mm-hmm.
Got some nice red ones. Well, maroon ones with sparkles.
Mm-hmm.
Then the green ones. Then these cool blue ones. And then two different
Mm-hmm.
crayfish. But he has the molds. He does all these himself. But I keep forgetting to put it in my tackle box. How we doing,
Nice.
Stu?
Hey, Stuart.
Hello, Elliot. Good morning, Tasha.
Morning. Good to see you, man.
How are you all?
Doing pretty good.
How are
Here.
you all?
Good. Judy May says, have you ever heard of Robert Cray? Sounds familiar. I know who Robert Johnson is. Robert Cray. I probably have. I just can't think of it. I'd have to see his story. I used to never drink coffee in the summer. My roommate comes here and he drinks coffee 7 days a week, and all of a sudden, and plus with these streams, I got where I drink coffee now. I don't go for a ride though because I have no AC, so I will sweat if I go out there, get in that truck. Music on ice. Gonna bring the guitar down and play to the fish. Yeah, cool.
I liked what CFM said about like Dazed and Confused Led Zeppelin. My favorite Led Zeppelin song is when Levy Breaks.
Oh yeah, I love that one. Yeah, it's got a good boy.
I still say that is Led Zeppelin's best song they've ever done.
Yeah,
I still swear down that John Bonham used Thor's hammer for that drum beat.
mm-hmm. I love a lot of bands. Cream, the old Cream, Badge, White Room. When I was young, radio was exploding on the radio. Every few days a new hit would hit. Every few days a new band would be formed. So it seemed like. And it was just, kind of took it for granted, but it was just a great time. Music was just everywhere. Everybody aspired to be musicians. A lot of your rock bands, a vast majority, Petty, all of them, Elvis Presley influenced them. They wouldn't probably never been famous if they hadn't seen Elvis Presley. Even John Lennon said, before Elvis there was nothing. So that's why I'm still a big Beatles fan. I first heard of the Beatles when I was third grade. Next door teenage girl, about 14 or 15, I think she was 15, come over. Might have been even 10. And I went over to her house and sit, and she said, "I want you to listen to this album." And she put it on. I don't remember which Beatles album. It may have been the first one, 63, I'm not sure. But this is for Ed Sullivan. And I listened to it, and I says, okay. Didn't think of, I thought they were good. Next thing you know, I got bangs, and I'm the only one in third grade with bangs. And the girls look around and say, "What are you, a Beatle?" No guy in the entire school had bangs except me. That's how influenced I was by it. I just thought it was different. I didn't like short hair.
Good morning, Mom.
Crew cuts. Oh, I hated that stuff. And I used to have long hair too, Rich, at one time. In the 70s, I had it. 90s, I had long hair for off and on quite a few times.
I used to have really long hair when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
Won't ever have long hair again.
Oh, I can't stand it now, especially when it gets hot. It gets to me.
That's my ponytail. My ponytail.
Well, see, I can have some crazy hair.
I thought about the ponytail.
Tasha, we all know you've got crazy hair.
I haven't even shaved this morning. I usually shave and all that before I even go on the stream. But of course, you can't see it.
I can't. I see people who shave. Right. I feel sorry for all men. Right. We spend. I'm being serious here. Right. See all this like stubble here. Right. I've trimmed this back. A man can go through his whole life. In 4 months of his life, he has to shave.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I typically, I used to be a night person. I worked second shift most of my life in a corporation, multiple corporations, and I used to get off at midnight and me and my brother would hit the bars in DeKalb County. They stayed up to about 3:30 a.m. Last call was like 3:15. And I used to call it my midnight shadow. I'd go like that, and I go, "Oh God, yeah, I hadn't shaved." It's one time, even back then, I would carry a little cheap rechargeable back in the old days, and I'd keep it in my car, and I'd sit there and do that in the car sometime before I'd go in there. But my days were long. I'd sleep about 11, go to work to about midnight, go in a place, have some drinks to about 3:30 a.m., and then go home, sleep a while, go back to work. Of course, that's when I first got divorced. Of course, reliving my teenage years. Apparently, I did marry kind of young, 18, I think.
I'm done being married. Being married don't go together. Just like as soon as I see that piece of paper, my brain goes, you know what? It should just be peace out and walk out the door.
Mm-hmm.
Two and done for me.
Record breaker. I almost picked up some.
I'm gonna try and do a live later today. I'm going to do a live later today, so if I don't know what time it is across in Canada, but I'm hoping that CFM can join me for a fly tying session
Rich is on the same time zone I am.
if he wants to.
Mm-hmm.
He's on the same time as me.
What time is the Rich going to be streaming, Tasha?
Well, I take it so you're still like 5 hours behind, yeah?
Yeah, because he's on the Eastern, the same as me.
All right, okay.
Almost half
That might be for you.
Rich, I don't think is streaming.
Looks like a sunny day here.
Because like I said, I'm going to try and like do it like after I've had like tea time. I'll start doing a live to try and see if that works out any better than.
Mm-hmm. I've been very erratic with my lives. I used to do about 3 to 4 streams a week with a co-host I had to help out. He was legally blind. And,
yeah, that's what I'm thinking about doing. Mornings, at least a couple times a week. Because I know it's hard for, our UK friends and stuff to make it over. 'Cause it's 2 a.m. typically when I go live. So that's one of the reasons why I miss doing a morning show. So I'm going to try to get back in.
Well, I usually pop in your lives.
Mm-hmm. I do pretty good, Rich. I guess that's Rich I'm talking to. I do pretty good with coffee sometimes. I'll get, quite a crowd in there occasionally. I mean, just popping up, luckily. Some days better than others. I get one guy, Russell, he's in the UK. He's actually in a gun forum I'm a member of. I'm a moderator. He'll jump in. But I've been so erratic the past year or
Cheers,
so
CFM.
that, yeah, if I could get streaming back on a schedule again, I could build my crowd, audience back up. But it is what it is. I got where I enjoy just, going in and saying hello to side chats and meeting people, sometimes more than I did my own shows. But, and I did
You're more
get
than
burned out.
welcome, Rich. You're more than welcome.
I need to get me a good camera, and I need to get me a computer that'll actually do a green screen, because this computer is not powerful. Graphics card is not powerful enough to do it.
Mine either, because if I put a green screen on, I lag.
Mm-hmm. I go in slow mo. I go like this. I mean, not even enough to do the frame rate.
It'll make my internet lag.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been looking at new laptops.
Robotics.
With Brett's son and have him get into this and do whatever needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still thinking about getting a new one. If I can get up the money to do so.
Mm-hmm.
Just need one faster one than what this is. Granted, yeah, I could take it and have it this and that, and by the time I'd get done to have it the way that I want, it costs the price of a new one to do it anyway. So I might as well just get a new one.
Mm-hmm. I'm thinking about built in time. I get this car out of the way, I got a few other projects here. I'm gonna get probably an i9, and I'm gonna build another PC. This one here was built. I think I built it in 2011. I was thinking it's old. I mean, I did build top of the line at the time. That's the only reason it's still working. i7 4-core, had DDR3 RAM. Yeah, DDR3. I do have upgrade SSD Samsung drives, and that speeded it up good, Tasha. SSDs versus the optical, the old heavy hard drives. I mean, so it's boom, boom, boom now. But they're really fast. The new ones are. My goodness. I mean, they're extremely fast and powerful.
Which I have a bunch of stuff on here that I would transfer over, like certain sounds, certain pictures. But then I would just leave this one for, holding on to the memories and stuff that are on here. And then just use the other one for like my live streaming and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right, Rich. Good CPU and a graphics card. My graphics card is a high def card, but I think it's $100 back in the day. But it's only 1 gig, so that tells you. And now they're 12, 20 something gig. I mean, they're up about 16, 30, something like that. They're real high now compared to what they were.
Oh, these cats.
Last year's.
Sounds like you've got a house full of cats there, Tasha.
Got you, Rich.
See, right now, this one is 918 gig, and I've used 130 of it.
Okay, that's a 1 terabyte then. You got it. You never get the 1 terabyte because part
Right,
of
anyway.
operating system. But yeah, you got a 1 terabyte. That's pretty good size. I've got 5 terabytes total. I got 1, 2, 3, 4 terabytes in my PC, and then a 1 terabyte Seagate external up here. It's probably 13 years old. Yeah. Well, yeah, 13 years old. Still works.
Right, I'm gonna go.
Sit. You've been shaved today. Sit on your bum,
Right. Bye bye, peoples.
Come here.
Catch us after. Bye bye.
That's mine.
Have a good day, Stuart.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to shut her down. I gotta get my sauce going, or it's not gonna be done for dinner. Still gotta make up my meatballs, cut onions.
Yeah, I got
my
to thaw my
daughter
steak
sick.
out. Get my steak thawed out. I had it out for days in the refrigerator. But good being here. Sorry I was late. I was wanting to try to get in here, early.
Well, like I said, I'll be doing them. Most of them will be done at if it's during the week, it'll be 8:30, just because I'm always in hog legs. But if I decide to do a morning stream, like on my days off, Saturday, Sunday, or Monday, I'll probably do it a little bit later, 9, 10, somewhere in there. Probably 9. Do a 2-hour.
Yeah. You have a happy Labor Day. Be safe. You all in the side chat. Good seeing you all. You all be safe. Thank you for having me on, Tasha.
Anytime, Elliot. You know that.
Thank you. And good to see Bob last night too.
Yes, it was. He's always in the background, even if he doesn't say anything. So it's hard.
Yeah, he's had a some rough surgeries, boy. Things.
And he's still got one coming up next month, so.
I still got the neck thing, which, I dread it when it happens. If I do a live, I'll be in here one of those hard braces, looking like Frankenstein.
Yeah.
So,
That's the hardest part with the cervical.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, great.
Neck sitting on the shoulder, crazy,
Yeah.
but they got to do it that way because for it to heal right, and you definitely don't need to break what they just fixed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I heard if I had one disc, I could do a soft one. If I do, 4, which they're going to do, that I have to wear that thing. And I said, oh God, I hate that thing. Thought of it. And, but yeah, it's great being here. Good to see you all. I may do a pop. I may do a live on my gun channel.
I'll be live tonight, 9 o'clock.
Okay. Catch you later. Bye, everybody. God bless.
All right, guys, I got to get off here and get some stuff done, or I'm going to sit here for 5 hours and I'm not going to get anything done. And that wouldn't be a good thing. My daughter'd be screaming at me, especially being pregnant. You said you were going to cook me food. I'm sorry I didn't get to it. So my son will be hounding me because I was going to make the spaghetti sauce and do that last night, and then I said the heck with it. We got rotisserie chicken. But anyways, I hope everybody has a great Labor Day. Much love. God bless. I will be live at 9 p.m. tonight, so I hope to see y'all there. So we'll catch you on the next one. Have a great day, y'all.